Good morning, everyone. The part 2 of the chapter surface chemistry is the application of the adsorption. We have already discussed about the process types of adsorption isotherm. Now the next topic is the application of the adsorption. Now let us discuss the application of the adsorption. The first application is the gas mask. Actually, the gas mask, it is a device which consists of activated charcoal or a mixture of adsorbent and is usually used for the breathing in the coal mines to absorb the poisonous gases. So the gas mask is, it is the technique of the adsorption is used in the gas mask to absorb the poisonous gases, and these gas masks is used for those person who are working with coal mines. Now the next is the humidity controller. Actually, the silica and the aluminum gels, silica gel as well as the aluminum gel, are used as the adsorbent for removing moisture, and it is also used to control the humidity. Now the next use is removal of coloring matter, and this removal takes place from the solution. So animal charcoal remove color of solution. Animal charcoal, for that we use the animal charcoal, removes color of solution by absorbing colored impurities. If anything contain the impurity, then we use the animal charcoal, and it absorb all the impurity from the solution. Now the next one is the curing diseases. Now this technique of adsorption is used in the curing the diseases. A number of drugs are used to kill germs by getting adsorbed on them. So here we use the adsorption technique. Now the next one is the chromatographic analysis. So chromatography is a technique to separate the two color or the two dye. If we want to separate the color of the ink or the dye color, so for that purpose we use the chromatographic technique. So chromatographic analysis based on the phenomena of adsorptions find a number of application in the analytical and the industrial field. We use this technique. Now the next is the high vacuum. For many reaction we need a very high vacuum. So for that purpose, if anything, actually the air is everywhere, we all know very well. Sometimes what happen when we need a high vacuum system, but there some air should be there. So for that, charcoal is kept in that vacuum pump, and that charcoal absorb all the air or all the gases present inside that vacuum pump and make it highly vacuumed. So if the any traces of the gases, for example any traces of the air is present, so it can be easily absorbed by the charcoal, and that after that we get a high vacuum area for any specific technique or any specific experiment. Now with that, the portion of the adsorption is completed. Now the next topic is colloids. It is a very old topic. You have already studied colloid, I think, in the ninth class also. Okay, now let us discuss about the colloids. A colloid is a heterogeneous system. First of all, keep in mind it is a heterogeneous. So heterogeneous means in which the solute and the solvent are not mixes completely with each other. That is called the heterogeneous. So a colloid is a heterogeneous system in which one substance is dispersed, that is dispersed phase, as very fine particle in another substance, which is called the dispersion medium. Now in case of the solution, we use the solvent and the solute. So in case of the colloid, we use two other phases. One is the dispersed phase and another is the dispersion medium, but the meaning of both is the same. Here the dispersed medium means a solvent. So in solution, which is that solvent, now here it is used, its name is the dispersion medium, and the solute is dispersed phase. So it is a heterogeneous system. Now for example, we also know that in when we mixes the sand in water and we stir the solution, so it give a suspension, we get a suspension which slowly settle down after some interval of time when we leave it undisturbed. So between the two extreme of the suspension and the solution, we come across a large group of a system, and that system is called the colloidal dispersion, or sometimes it is simply collide as a simply it is termed as a colloids. So colloidal solution, colloidal dispersion, and collide all are the same term, they all have the same meaning. The essential difference between the solution and the colloid is that of the particle size. In colloid and solution, the only difference or the main difference is of the particle size. In a solution, the constituent particle are ions or a small molecule, but in a colloid, the dispersed phase means solute may consist of the particle of the single macromolecule. Now we use the term macromolecule. Macromolecule means, for example, protein is the example of the macromolecule, and the synthetic polymers are the example of the macromolecule, or an aggregate of many atoms, ion, or the molecule. So the basic difference between the colloid and the solution is of the particle size. So a colloidal particle are larger than simple molecule. The particle of the colloidals are larger than the simple molecules, but small enough to remain suspended. But they are small enough that they remain suspended in the solvent or the dispersion medium. The range of the diameter is in between 1 and that is 1000 nanometer. This is the size of the colloidal solution, or it is also called, that is 10 to the power minus 9 to the 10 to the power minus 6 nanometer. This is the size of the colloidal particle, or the size of the colloid. So the colloidal particle have an enormous surface area per unit mass as a result of their small size. Now let us discuss the classification of the colloid, types of the colloid. So the colloids are classified on the basis of some criteria. For that we have some criteria. So the first criteria is physical state of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. That is the first criteria by which we can classify the colloidal solution. Now let us discuss about this. So depending upon whether the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, are solid, liquid, or gases, so we have 8 type of colloidal system. A gas mixed with another gas form a homogeneous mixture, and hence it is not a colloidal system. When a gas mixed with another gas form a homogeneous system. So it is not colloid. It is not a part of the colloidal system, because we have already discussed that colloidal particles are heterogeneous. But when a gas is mixes with another gas, so it give a homogeneous mixture, so it is not a part of a colloidal system. We have a list for that. We have a list how many types of colloidal solution are formed on the basis of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. So for example, let us discuss 1, 2, 3 few example. Dispersed phase. Another category is dispersion medium. Now we have types of colloids. And suppose example, if we want to know the example. So the first is when solid mixes with solid. When one solid is mixed with another solid, we get solid sol. The type of colloid is solid sol. And example is gemstone. We all are aware of the gemstone. We all know about the gemstone. Colored glasses. These all are the example of solid. That is the solid sol. Now, second example. For example, we add the solid in the liquid. The type of the colloidal is sol. And example is paint. We all know paint. In paint, the dispersion medium is liquid and dispersed phase is solid. For example, the third one is we mixes gas in the solid. Again, we get solid sol when the gas is mixed in solid. And the example is foam, rubber. These all are the examples. So these are the 8 categories. I will send these 8 category by the help of the PDF. I will send you, and even it is also, this list is also mentioned in your NCERT book. You can also tally these headings from the book also. So this is the classification on the basis of physical state of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. So out of the various type of the colloids, these are the types of the colloids. So there are various type of a colloid like solid sol, we have aerosols, we have gem, we have emulsions, we have foam. So there are the 8 type of the colloid. So out of these 8 type, the most common is the sol. This one is the most common, that is sol. And how it is formed? When the solid is mixed in the liquid. Gels, we also have a gel. That is how the gel is formed when the liquid is mixed in solid. Here we have a liquid and here we have a solid. Then we get a gel. And the emulsion. How the emulsion is formed? When the liquid is mixed in liquid, like milk. Milk is the example of the emulsion. So butter is the example of the emulsion. So sols, gel and emulsion. These are the very, very important and the very common type of the colloids. Now the second classification is classification based on the nature of nature of interaction between dispersed phase and dispersion medium. This is the classification based on the nature of interaction. What is the nature of interaction in between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium? So depending upon this type of interaction between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, the colloids are divided into 2 categories. One is the lyophilic and another one is the lyophobic. One is the lyophilic and another one is the lyophobic colloid. So lyophilic is also known as the solvent loving. Lyophilic is also called the solvent loving and it is also called the solvent hating. That is solvent hating. This is solvent loving. Lyophilic is solvent loving and lyophobic is solvent hating. So the colloidals, in case of the lyophilic colloids, the colloidal sols directly form by mixing the substance like gum, gelatin, starch, rubber with a suitable liquid. Here the liquid means the dispersion medium, are called the lyophilic sols. They are known as the lyophilic sols. An important characteristic of these sols is that if the dispersion medium is separated from the dispersed phase by the process of evaporation, the sol may be reconstituted by simply remixing with the dispersion medium. That is why these sol are also called the reversible sol. These are called reversible. These sols are also called the reversible sols. These sols are quite stable. This is the property of the lyophilic sol. These are quite, this another property is stable. These are reversible. These are the property. This is a very important question. How you will distinguish between the lyophilic and the lyophobic? The first is lyophilic is solvent loving. This is the one property. Lyophilic are reversible. Third is the lyophilic are stable and cannot be easily coagulated. They cannot be. And the fourth property is cannot be easily coagulated. Cannot be. They cannot be easily coagulated. Now the next is the lyophobic, that is solvent hating. This is also called the solvent hating or the liquid hating. So substance like metal, their sulfides, when simply mixed with the dispersion medium, do not form a colloidal solution. When you mix metals and their sulfide with a liquid, so they can't form a colloidal solution. So their colloidal sol can be prepared only by the special method. For that, to prepare the lyophobic colloid, we have to apply some special method, and such sols are known as the lyophobic sol, which we get from the special method that are known as the lyophobic sol. So these sols are readily precipitated. Now the meaning of the precipitated is the coagulated, readily precipitated on the addition of the small amount of the electrolyte. Addition of the small amount of the electrolyte by heating or by shaking, and hence are not stable. So its property, if we want to distinguish in between them, the first is that they are solvent hating. The second is they are not stable. They are not stable because they are easily or readily precipitated on the addition of the small amount of electrolyte, or even we heat, if we shake, so they are readily precipitated. So they are not stable. It means they are not stable. Once precipitated, they do not give back to the colloidal solution. Once they precipitated, so they doesn't come back to their original position. Hence, they do not back to their colloidal solution by the simple addition of the dispersion medium. Hence, these are irreversible. The third property is irreversible. This is the another property, that is the irreversible. And lyophobic sol need stabilizing agent for their preservation. They need stabilizing agent. If we want to stabilize them or if we want to preserve them, so they need a stabilizing agent. So this is a very important question. This is that what is the difference between the lyophilic and the lyophobic colloids? So the one is, this is the solvent loving, reversible, is it doesn't easily coagulated, and it is a stable. Now these are the solvent hating, not stable, irreversible, and if you want to preserve them, so you need a special stabilizing agent. Now the last type of a classification is the classification on the basis of the types of the particle of the dispersion phase. So depending upon the type of the dispersion phase, the colloids are of three types. One is the multimolecular, second one is the macromolecular, and third one is the associated colloids. So first is the multimolecular colloids. So on dissolution, a large number of atom or a smaller molecule of a substance aggregated together, they combine together to form a species having size in the colloidal range, and that range is the diameter is less than 1 nanometer. The species thus form, this species thus form after the aggregation process, it is known as the multimolecular colloid. So for example, a gold sol may contain particle of various size having many atoms. Sulfur sol consists of the particle containing the thousand of or more of S8 sulfur molecule. If we talking about the gold sol, or if we talking about the sulfur sol, so they are formed when the various thousand small atoms are combined together. So it is, these are the example of the multimolecular colloid. Now the next term is the macromolecular colloid. So the macromolecular in suitable macromolecules in suitable solvent form solution in which the size of the macromolecule may be in the range of the colloidal, or they are in the colloidal range, and such system are called the macromolecular colloids. These colloids, macromolecular colloids, are quite stable and resembles to the true solution in many respect. And if we want to know about the example, so the example of naturally occurring macromolecules are the starch. Starch is the example of macromolecule. Cellulose, protein, enzyme, they all are the example of macromolecule. And there are some man-made macromolecule, for example polythene, polystyrene, for example nylon, synthetic rubber, because the various monomer unit are combined together to form a large molecule, macromolecule. That's why it is known as the macromolecular colloid. Now the last one is the associated colloids, and the associated colloids are also known as micelles. And you all know what is micelles. Micelles are formed in the soap solution. So there are some substances which at low concentration behave as normal strong electrolyte, but at higher concentration exhibit colloidal behavior due to the formation of the aggregates. This is a very important topic. These are the substances, when they are present in low concentration, they behave as an electrolyte, but when they are present in high concentration, they exhibit the property of colloid. Why they exhibit? Due to the formation of the aggregate, because we know that the structure of the soap aggregates, the aggregate particle thus form are called micelles. That aggregate particles that formed at that time is known as the micelles, and these are also known as the associated colloids. So the formation of micelles takes place only above a particular temperature. For the formation of the micelle, there should be a particular temperature, and that temperature is known as the Kraft temperature, that is TK. That temperature is known as the Kraft temperature, and above a particular concentration, and that is called the critical micelle concentration, and in short CMC, critical micelles concentration. That is called critical micelle concentration. Now let us discuss the micelles in a short, because we all know about the micelle, how the micelle form, how the cleansing action of micelle takes place. Actually, we all know very well that the soap molecule contain the two parts. One is the hydrophilic head and another one is the hydrophobic tail. So when we dissolve the soap solution in the water, so it form a micelle, it form a structure of micelle, and that part which is attached to the dirt particle or the grease particle, it form a structure, and that structure is known as the micelle. So it aggregated, it attached to the dirt particle, and when as we agitate the cloth, so we can easily get rid of the grease or the oily spot.